It's September 7th, 2024, and I have fully hit a year since I have moved back home from Ohio. A lot has changed since then. Physically, obviously. I came home bald. I had to constantly hear, oh my gosh, she's bald! She's bald and she's torturing people who have hair! I have more hair now, guys. It's been growing. And now I am fully in box braids. I was before, but I think this blonde really complements my skin tone. Honestly, I had turned 21 and I had this really pretty wig that ate down. So I wanted to complement that same wig color to braids color. That's something more suitable for me. Wigs are a hot and cold relationship with me. I think I'm more of a glueless kind of girl instead of like full on glue. Like it's just way too much, way too messy, way too sticky. Like I can't. It's just not. Without further ado, this video is mainly a reflection, so it's really not that long. I have my notes here, and I'm just gonna get into it. When I first came home, I hadn't been here for several months because on my own merit, I decided to just stay in Ohio for the summer. And before the summer, I was in school, so it had been maybe over 7, 8 months possibly that I had only been home constantly. And I looked at my room and I saw that there was so much clutter. And within the first 3 days of me coming home, I cleaned out my room entirely. There was so much stuff that I just didn't need, that I didn't want. And it was me, my room, and Gilmore Girls for all of those days. The amount of space that has taken up just clothes in general, like, it was insane. I've been more consistent in trying to be more mindful of the things I buy and the things that I actually like to use and what I could possibly use for more times. If you're rattling, I am doing laundry in tandem, so the dryer and washer are going at it, and of course life is happening outside, so if you hear any of that stuff, just bear with me. After that, of course I felt somewhat complete, but not fully, maybe at my most. At when I was at 10%, cleaning my room made me feel at least maybe 15, 20. And I had nothing. Like, I wasn't in school, I wasn't working, I wasn't playing my instrument, I wasn't doing my podcast, nothing. So I was in this state where I was like, okay, maybe I should just start constantly doing things that I just need to keep moving. I touched on this in my video back in November, December, the yearly 2023 recap, and I talked about how I started doing things physically because I just constantly kept rotting in my room, not doing anything. And I started working out, and I started doing yoga, and it was great. I don't work out as much anymore because solely I don't have that much time to. I walk every day. Like, I walk, I climb, I utilize these stairs in my house and I run up them all the time. Even though that's not the most, I still should make some more time to work out or meditate. I've been meditating more, but we'll get more into that. So when I felt like just working out wasn't doing much for me, I started slowly acclimating myself back into the things that I was doing. There was a lot of times where the things that felt so normal to me still felt like I was a stranger to it. Like when I was playing my instrument for the first time in who knows how long, it just didn't feel right at the time. I just didn't feel like this made sense. Of course, everything was still there for muscle memory, of course, but things were just, something felt off. Music still is very much a part of me and everything that I do, but I just didn't feel the motivation to actually get back into that. Same as reading. I had DNF'd a lot of books. DNF means do not finish if you're not like a book reader. So DNF. A lot of books I just picked up, didn't feel the urge to read, didn't get the energy to just pick up a book and start reading. And then I'll just leave it alone and do it the next thing constantly over and over again. So the book that got me out of a rut was actually more of a self-help book. Now, self-help books are a genre that can go many different ways. It's very broad. Self-help books about how to save your money, how to be the best version of yourself, how to feel prettier, how to not give a damn. Or I think that's the book is like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's that book. Just being fully secure in who you are as a person and not worrying about what other people perceive you as. So you can dive into anything when it comes to self-help. This book that I read called Everything Isn't Terrible. It was a way that helps you navigate how you perceive your anxiety, and I have a lot of it. Of course, it's gotten a lot better since then. It's gotten much, much better. Everything is way more manageable, and especially now that I view it. My anxiety is just solely here to see where I am, safety wise, testing the waters. Like, your anxiety will tell you, hey, if you're going out in that pool over there, make sure it's on the right side. Make sure you're not in the deep end because you could fall in. And you're like, hey, you can swim. It's okay. You're fine. It's just a back and forth. It's just a little small check in. Realize that the check in is a check in, and then assure yourself, and then that's it. Boom, you're done. I mean, I say that like it's easier said than done, but things can be simple though. Viewing your anxiety as a fire alarm has been a better mechanism for me because fire alarms can be very annoying, but they're just like, hey, you've got a fire, possibly? And you're like, no, it's not a fire. It's good. Oh, we don't? Cool. I think Inside Out 2 also was a movie that helped with my anxiety. I like movies that not only enrich the kids watching it, but the parents also watching their kids watching it. So it's not something that's only the kids can understand, but the parents can understand that too and put themselves in that situation when they were Riley's age, or hell, the age they're currently in. When anxiety was taking charge and the suppressed emotions being the OGs, joy, fear, sadness, disgust, anger, they were all away, and anxiety took all of the bulk. She was making so many irrational, rational scenarios. She was explaining how all of these things could happen, and the way that we're preparing for them is so that it can keep Riley safe. And the thing is, she didn't realize that later on, Riley cannot control everything that she could possibly do. Control the things that you can. And it's so liberating to figure out that not everything you can do is something you can control, but there are things you can control. Focus on that thing. And when anxiety was acknowledged, because the way that anxiety, just like how all the other emotions approached anxiety, is the same way we all view anxiety. We all view it as like, okay, I think you're coming off a little too strong, but anxiety can't really help that. Anxiety is always just like, hey, this could happen. I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what could possibly happen. Anxiety is always premeditated. Like, everything is already mapped out before things happen that could possibly happen. But sometimes there are things that's just solely not necessary. I can go on that for a while, but I digress. I have gotten a lot better. The book Everything Isn't Terrible is a great book that tells you about how you should view your anxiety, not only with yourself, your friends, your family, your workplace, in politics, everything like that. I'm going to link to the book in the description. My creativity. In that video, again, I'm referencing a lot in that recap video because within that video, I had only been home for about 2 to 3 months, maybe. At the time, I was rebranding a whole new show for myself called The Lore Love Tales, and as you can tell, if you've made it up all the way to this point, not a lot of those videos have been posted as of recently, solely because I lost a little bit of motivation and spunk along the way up until this point. But I will say this into a segue. I have created a podcast, Third Time's a Charm, you guys. My podcast with my great friend Cam, we created a podcast called The Garden, and it's gonna be fun. If by the time you see this video, it's actually gonna be up on our shared channel. I'll link that also in the description. And we have just a small approach in the first episode. It's just a small introductory, but nevertheless, we're going to be continuously uploading every weekend, if not Saturday, Sunday. And we shoot in the beginning of the week, have the whole week to edit, and that works for the both of us. In our podcast, we strive to talk about topics that are self-developmental. We talk about anxiety, we talk about mindful purchasing, we'll talk about generational wealth, generational trauma, if you will, and it's going to be a great time. It's more silly in this first episode because we're just trying to get, anything new is going to be a little bit, but bear with us. We're going to be making this content very relatable and very us, if that makes sense. So you'll get to know more of us in the following weeks and more after once you see more of these videos. So The Garden, take a listen and take a watch. Creativity. I have also been in an orchestra, and I am in the second season of MISO because it helps me better doing the things I love, but also still going to school. I'm also back in school. I'm a commuter, and I love my little adventures going to the train, riding the train, and coming to the city and walking down the streets and having my classes, seeing all the restaurants and seeing all these people who are also actively trying to gain their education as well is such a it's such a nice thing to see. On top of that, I do have a Barnes and Noble across the street from my first building of classes, so that's not good for me or my pockets, but one thing at a time. I take the red and brown line to my classes, and it's a great commute to me. I talk to my friends about it, and they're saying, yeah, Trin, that's a lot. But as long as I can remember going to the mall with my family, I've always just disappeared somewhere else. And it's just something that I like to do. And I don't have to worry about someone else. I could just worry about myself and go where I want to be. And I had a great first day of classes. I take 3 in person and I have 2 online. I am taking 18 credits. Yes, it may be a lot. As a Prad girly, Prad being a combination of public relations and advertising, I am taking 18 credits, and that may sound like a lot, but because I go to DePaul, their courses are different, their structure is different. As opposed to a semester, they are quarter. So of course the quarters are going to be 10, 11 weeks, which makes it 2 months, so the content is very fast paced. So with that, the courses are going to have like 1 more credit than any other regular school, and it's private. I don't know if that changes anything though. Being in school has been a great ordeal, and it's only been a day, and I can't wait to go back. I miss doing homework, believe it or not. Getting back in the groove from coming home, I started work. I met some amazing people that have probably imprinted me as much as I have imprinted on them. They are amazing, beautiful people that I probably, some of them you've seen in my video with Basement Talks with Cam and I have loved every interaction that I've had. They have made me such a better, more personable person. I have been told that I'm a personable human being, but I nonetheless meet so many different personalities, and we all fit somehow. Thing that a lot of people like to say, especially my friends, they say, you know, if we met some other way, we probably wouldn't be friends. Like if we were in high school, we would not be friends because we were just in different, different cliques. We were not on the same wavelength. We just were not on the same, we weren't anywhere. Like I was here and they were there, and we didn't have any reason to go over here or go over there. But that's the great thing about having friends in forced proximity, is just because you get to have to know these people, and you see them and you see their patterns and what they like and what they don't like. Oh, these people must like pink a lot. Oh, this person loves chicken like as their favorite food, and you get to have those conversations and you realize, these people are great, regardless of who your upbringings are and how you know them. They're great people, and you share the same laughs all the same. I could make a paper about friendships and relationships and how I think platonic relationships should be taken seriously just as much as romantic relationships. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe another time. How do I feel now? I feel so much lighter. It's been great. Along with getting back into my faith as well, I have realized that a lot of things do just take time to feel better about. Everything truly just feels more quiet up here. Like I have been more accepting with silence. And it's an amazing thing. I've always been a person who just loves being by myself and being introverted and doing things on my own and going places on my own. But truly, silence, maybe amongst my friends and everything like that, pure comforting silence is something I've gotten a lot better at as well. And it's just like, sometimes time really does help with those things. You only do so much shadow work with how you perceive yourself and your self-esteem, but as you get older, some things you just don't really care about. I mean, I know it's only been a year, but the way that people perceive me and how I talk about my appearance just doesn't, make me as scared anymore. I don't think it's solely been exposure. It's just been like I've been in my own body for this long and I've been fine. So why worry? Another thing that I did notice, and I know comparison is a thief of joy, but I do want to make an exception for this. When I was in Ohio, I did not feel my most best self visibly. I cut my hair, I shaved off my locks. I wasn't doing much. My skincare was like fine. The way that I, dressed was fine. Everything under the sun, I just did what I did to just get by and do the next thing. I was, like I say a lot to the people that I know, I felt like I was just solely surviving and not living. I say all that to say this: when you start living a more beautiful life, people will start to notice it more and talk to you about it. They will let you know. So when there are times where I'm outside, and sometimes I feel like I have the most basic outfit on, or I'm just, I just threw something on, not threw something on, but just a common trendy fit, right? Like just baggy jeans, just essentially what I have on right now, just like baggy stuff. Um, People will come up to me and say, "You're so pretty." And I did not get that a lot in Ohio. I'm not saying I didn't feel I was ugly in Ohio, but I certainly didn't feel it. A lot of things people will notice how you perceive yourself at the same time. So if you don't feel confident in yourself, a lot of people will see that. And it shows. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but if you feel confident in your own skin and your own body, people are going to resonate with you and tell you about yourself in the best way. I just said this on my story yesterday. I had this outfit on. It was like flared fitted jeans, a t-shirt, and some Nikes. And I was, people had stopped me. I was at Walmart, and this girl, she had to be around my age. She was just like, "You are so pretty," and I was like, "Oh my god, so are you!" Like it's just such a great interaction to have, feeling the way that you do, and it's just no. I want everyone to have that. Certainly doesn't come easy. I think being back in school again has made the whole circle full. And there were methods that I used in school back in Ohio where I like fully took one day out and just did the bulk of my work and then just not had anything for the Saturday, Sunday, weekend. But now I do that now. I try to. I only have 2 days out of the week where I go and I'll have my other 3 classes. I'm doing that now for the first time and I'm like, how the hell did I do this? This is not cool. And it's a good thing because yesterday I was doing homework. I have so much reading. I have a class where it's completely discussion based. So there's a lot of readings and lectures and excerpts that you have to read before you actually get in the class, and annotating, which is something I'm always doing when I read. I'll tell you what I'm currently reading as well. But back to the point. I realized I was like, I'm getting myself back into this mode, into this mindset of me just doing all the work at one time. And I felt myself getting really overstimulated, really anxious, and like really put off. And I was like, yo, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this feeling at all. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go to Barnes and Noble, maybe go get me a slushie or something, and then I'm gonna come back. It's gonna get done. It's just not gonna get all done right now. And that's growth, because if I was anybody else, if I was like I was in Ohio, I would have just sat there and been anxious and then just got the work done half-assedly. I don't think that's a word, but like I had to make it. You get the point. I'd rather finish something with great quality than just finishing it within the quantity of time that I have. And on top of that, I don't have just ample amounts of time anymore. I have a podcast. I'm a musician. I'm at work, and I'm doing all these things to continuously make me to be the person I am. So taking this much time reading about mass communication with 30 pages and then making annotated notes as well as also doing discussion points, that's not gonna it's great. It's great content. It's great material, but I just can't do it all in one setting. And also, I don't think that's how brain works anyway. Being patient with yourself is also great. I think I tried doing the whole 18 credit thing with that same method in Ohio, and it ended up in me moving back home. um, Amongst other things. I say all that to say this: if a concept that worked before doesn't work now, it doesn't make you broken, it just makes you different in a good way. Some things just don't stay the same. And who are we to just continuously be stuck in one setting for the entirety of our lives? So, um, I love it. I love my campus. There's two campuses. So there's the West Loop and the Lincoln Park. The Lincoln Park has that more traditional quad. You know, when you see a college campus, you think of stuff like that. I think it was more like that. I just didn't have that much time to be there, but even still, being in a college campus among the city is also your campus. So it's beautiful walking around, and the air is warm and inviting here. It's filled with books, dissertations, and discussion boards, and there's just so much academia just ready to be explored. I'm Trin, and I'm a year older, and that's my growth. Hope you learned something. Love you, bye.